details. There we go. Post on timeline. Shared a story. What's going on here? How come this isn't working? I'll be with you in a second. I'm just having some trouble with the Facebook feed for some reason. Details are posted. Come hang. Save. Oh, there we go. Okay. Go live. Sorry for those of you on X that are waiting. X is never a problem. So Facebook is always the hassle. But here we are. And there's a new update with my software where I can actually see how many people are here, I believe. Or not. But that's okay. I don't really need to know how many people are there. I see you guys on X. Facebook seems to be working fine. And just make sure. Boom, boom, boom. This is end test broadcast. If you leave this now, you'll be able to choose. Well, I don't want it to be a test broadcast. I want it to actual broadcast. I need this to be just one simple button. Let's see, end. Delete video, return to newsfeed, confirm, blah, blah, blah. What a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. What a beautiful day to go live and have this shit actually work. What is going on? I'm coming, I'm coming. Boom, boom, boom. Why? What is Facebook? Facebook is like eBay at this point. Are people just staying on Facebook because they want marketplace? Is that the goal of Facebook? Oh my God. I did connect my streaming software. What is going on? What is going on? Okay, well, fuck Facebook. I don't know what to say. What is up, everybody? Welcome to this live stream. I haven't done a live stream in quite some time. I've just been really, really busy. As I said earlier, it's a good day to have a good day, as I tell my sons every morning. Um, yeah, it's just been really wild, really crazy. I feel extremely inspired these days. Extremely inspired. I'm so hungry for knowledge, for different spheres, artistic spheres. I've been reading like crazy. I have not been allowing myself to be caught up with the news cycle, which is always mad if you want it to be. I've been spending a little less time scrolling X, also doom scrolling. I still pay attention to everything that's happening. I have a select few voices that I trust, that I enjoy. Some of those are the Free Press, um, the Getting Hammered podcast with Mary Catherine Hammer, who I've been trying to get on my podcast, on my show. I'm just a huge. I pretty much agree with everything she says. The way she goes about it. There was some very sad news last week, or was it a week and a half ago? We found out that Scott Adams had very advanced stages of cancer and will be. I don't know. He kind of just announced that he won't make it past the summer. He's been a really calm voice that I've enjoyed listening to this past year. It's funny. It's fun to have someone who can go through current events and just with a smile, keep it light, laugh at what's happening. It's mostly out of our control. So I don't know. I'm realizing that it's not worth getting all wrapped up about, all caught up and emotional and knee jerk reactions. I see too many people. I just saw an artist today post. I won't name that person, but the artistic community's been a letdown overall when it comes to politics. It just seems like everyone's on the same page with every single issue. There is no diversity, although these people are the same people preaching for the importance of diversity, but they don't want diversity. They don't want diversity of opinion. They want to censor and cancel and shut down voices. They don't want to have real conversations. And if they attempt to, well, they get all hot under the collar and get all upset about stuff. And um, yeah, it's just I saw an artist post today that he was releasing an album. Very talented artist, and he was releasing an album inspired by everything happening in the U.S. right now. And it's just the predictable stuff, you know. I feel like if you can't celebrate the wins of someone you don't agree with, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's an honest depiction of what's happening. It just seems to be going along with the narrative, the people pleasing narrative. And I never thought that musicians or artists should be people pleasers necessarily. And it's just been baffling to be on the contrarian side of pretty much every single issue if you actually pay attention and challenge your own beliefs and have conversations with Grok or ChatGPT or whatever AI. Um, just to try to see different sides to things, you know, trying to understand. Well, there's one thing that's been going on that's been very, very positive these past few weeks is Bitcoin's back. Bitcoin is back. The markets are back. And the same people who were, you know, pointing out that the Trump administration just crashed the stock market, people who never really were interested in stocks and markets to begin with, were weren't celebrating all-time highs a few months ago, were suddenly pointing to the stock market as an indicator for the economy, which is absurd because these were the same people saying, well, the stock market is not an indicator for the economy. It doesn't translate to the price of eggs and houses and everything. And, you know, the working class doesn't have that much invested in those avenues. So it was once again very hypocritical to see people uh, cheer on or point out the downfall, if you will, of 1 month of what I consider a dip and a buying opportunity. If you want to remember Tim Walls and his cheering of the Tesla stock when it was at 225 and going down, as he says. Tesla, how is Tesla doing? Let's check it out. 225 was what he was calling. What was that? That was about, yeah, that was in early April. 225. If you just stayed calm and bought more Tesla, you'd be up significantly right now. Tesla's now at 361. So suck it, Tim Walls. If you bought Tesla stock a year ago, you would be up 104%. You would have doubled your money. You would literally have a little bit more than doubled your money. So it's crazy to see that. A month and a half ago, people were at protests, vandalizing Teslas, getting all caught up in the news cycle. And in the meantime, well, I was smiling, driving around in the Tesla. I actually test drove at Cybertruck, which was lots of fun. Lots of fun to drive the Cybertruck. Um, yeah, well, we had to put our summer tires on the Model Y that we own, and the guy was just, hey, instead of waiting around and sitting in the waiting room having coffee or reading a book, you can go test drive the Cybertruck. I said, hell yeah, I'll try that puppy. And it was fun, I have to say. That's a fun truck to drive. And people say it doesn't look good. I think it looks fantastic. Anyway, markets are up. So, hey, if you bought Tesla stock a year ago, or if you bought it when Tim Walls was cheering for an American company to depreciate and collapse, you'd be up, which is the thing to do, right? And it's funny because, the main market that I'm following is Bitcoin. As I said earlier, Bitcoin is back. It's back with a vengeance. We are at all-time highs. Last week we hit all-time high. It was celebration. It's funny how you get used to a certain number. You get used to all-time highs, and you just want it to go up forever, which it doesn't. It does in time if you zoom out and are patient enough, but it hit like almost 112,000 US for one Bitcoin. Now it's down at like 108 or 107. I'm not too sure. And it's kind of like, oh, that's boring. I want that 112 again. Whereas a month ago, it was at 74. Same thing. Everyone was panicking. I was telling people, wow, this is a great buying opportunity. Nobody listens. Nobody listens, or very few. A few people listened, but um, yeah, that's, from 74 to 112. Again, considerable. I've been screaming from the rooftops since November 2022 when it was 15K. Hey, this could easily 8x. Nobody listened. Kept dollar cost averaging. I'm not here to rub it in anybody's faces, but uh, and it's interesting because if I've seen a few videos and uh, finance people say, if you stop calculating things in fiat money. So stop calculating things in dollars, Canadian dollars, US dollars. Start calculating things in Bitcoin. And if you have a time frame of around 3 to 4 years, everything gets cheaper. A house used to cost maybe 4 years ago, let's see, 2025, 2021. Um, a house would cost around 4 years ago, 10 Bitcoin, 12 Bitcoin maybe. Today, the average house will cost you about 3 Bitcoin. So, and one day it will cost 1 Bitcoin, and then a house will cost half a Bitcoin. And I did the test. I asked Grok last week. We were kind of looking to maybe eventually buy Samsung frame TV. They're just really beautiful and elegant, and you could put art on your wall. Doesn't feel like there's no glare from the windows. We have windows here, so it doesn't look like a TV. It doesn't look like a tech item. It actually looks like a frame with artwork in the frame. So I was just curious, and I was at Costco, and I remember last summer seeing the frame TV, the Samsung frame TV at around, I think it was like around $1,500 or $1,400, and now they have the new model, which is $2,200. So in dollars, it's more expensive. But if you switch currency and flip it to Bitcoin, I asked Grok last week. I said, tell me how much cheaper this frame TV is compared to last year calculated in Bitcoin. And it told me it basically, even if the fiat number was higher, the Bitcoin value of the television was 73% lower. So if you calculate it in Bitcoin, it was like 0.05 or something last year to buy the frame TV. Today, at around, I think it was 111,000 last week. So 0.05 to 0.015. So that was about a 73% reduction on the television, which you calculate in cash was up from 1,500 to 2,200. So if you calculate things in Bitcoin, I'm not going to scream it anymore. I just find it very amusing. I was at a dinner last month, and somebody noticed that I had the Bitcoin price on my phone and kept saying, "Doesn't it stress you out to see that, that number go up? Last time I saw you was at 82, now it's at 93." I'm like, "Well, that's not very stressful. That just means that it went up." So it's always win-win with Bitcoin. With any money that you can store and make it digital property, and be willing to wait it out. If ever it does go down, and perhaps buy more, no one's ever lost any money buying Bitcoin. Anyone who hasn't sold their Bitcoin and is owns that Bitcoin today is up. Whether they bought it back in November 2021 at 69,000 US and it went all the way down to 15 and they just waited a few years, now they're up from 69 to 112. Not bad. And if they understood Bitcoin and kept buying it on the way down, well, then they're up significantly. And that's just marvelous. But yeah, calculate things in the price, in that currency, in Bitcoin, and everything makes more sense. Everything gets cheaper. Everything gets cheaper with time. The things aren't more expensive. I keep seeing people say, "Oh my goodness, everything's so expensive." Things are not more expensive. The purchasing power of your dollar is reduced considerably all the time. Money printing, yeah, money printing. I'm no financial expert, but I do know that a dollar gets you far less today than it used to. There are so many mosquitoes here. It's insane. I live in the country, and as I said earlier, I'm getting into so many different things. I'm so hungry for knowledge. I don't know what happened in this past 2 weeks. I want to do stand up. I want to write a book. I want to finish my new music album. Um, I'm just reading. I'm reading 5 different books right now at the same time. I want to cook. I want to learn recipes. I just like spend time with my family. I'm watching documentaries. I'm watching master classes. I realized I was subscribed to masterclass since January. I had taken the free trial just to do one masterclass, and I forgot to cancel the trial, so I ended up paying for it. So I have my membership, my masterclass membership, and I was looking at cooking classes. I'm watching David Mamet, who I've been obsessed with. Speaking of artists who go against the grain, now David Mamet, the playwright, there's a punk. There's a real Los Angeles punk. This guy, wow, he's been outspoken about Hamas. He's been outspoken about the American election, the U.S. election. considers Trump to be the best president since Abe Lincoln. Okay, that's perhaps debatable, not to him, but he has a master class, and I'm telling you, his master class is more entertaining than most movies or shows I have seen. So worth it. So worth watching. Um, yeah, he's just so spunky. He's witty. His insights are brilliant. And he basically teaches how to write dramatic storytelling, how to write a play, how to write um, a script, basically, how to write a good story, get from point A to point B, no bullshit. The man's a genius. He's getting old, old grumpy Jew, and just a delight, a pure delight. I had to share. I have a friend of mine who has directed many of my music videos, who's also a filmmaker and currently just shot his first feature film. Um, and I just sent it to him. I'm like, listen, dude, you have to watch this. Whether you know David Mamet or not, you will probably learn lots. It's around 4.5 hours long in little 10-minute, 15-minute segments if you're not familiar with Masterclass. And he's just so entertaining. So it's like having a fantastic, one of the best teachers in the world for screenwriting. And yeah, just highly recommend David Mamet's Masterclass. I'll be doing a bunch more. I did a bunch more during the pandemic. I just did tons of master classes. I absolutely love doing those, taking it all in, doing the exercises. I'm excited about cooking too. I have this book called Jerusalem. Um, yeah, Israeli cuisine, and we have one recipe we keep doing from that book. But I want to dig. I want to go buy the right ingredients and make some good Israeli food, Middle Eastern food. Uh, I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, so I'm a little bit tired right now. It's 12:45. Man, I'm close to I'm approaching 10 hours awake, and I usually nap in the afternoon. I'll probably nap after this. My son, we started watching Bluey, the Disney TV show for kids. He's 3 years old, and I'm trying to get him to watch more English TV shows. So he watches. We got him on watching Sesame Street on the weekend, one episode on the weekend, old school, the classic episodes. And I want him watching Bluey, which my fiance adores. It's really a great kids show. No nonsense, 8-minute episodes, 7 or 8 minutes. So it's perfect. You're not glued to the TV for hours. And he enjoys it. It's really cute. And so the last 3 nights, I was like, you know what? He's such a great kid, great boy. Um, and after dinner and bath, I'm like, if you hurry up and you get your jammies on, we can watch an episode of Bluey, maybe two, right? Because they're 7 minutes long. And he's really excited. So I'm happy. He gets a little bit of screen time, but it's a television show. We all watch it together for 7 minutes. And so he watched Bluey. But now, last night, and I've been 2 nights in a row now going to bed at 9:30. I try to get to bed as early as possible so I can wake up at 4:30 to start doing stuff, to start reading, to start writing, to start my day before the kids wake up. But he woke up at 2:30 in the morning screaming. I think he had a bad dream, and he woke up screaming, "I want to watch Bluey." And I think he was still half asleep, so I could hear this. But my fiance, she woke up before me. She intercepted him before he came into the room to wake up the baby. I've been sleeping downstairs in the basement, seeing as the baby hasn't been having full nights. So there's no point in both of us being really tired. Anyway, so I wanted to get up there before he would wake her up. And usually he'll fall back asleep. Even if he cries, he'll cry for 30 seconds. And I kind of wait it out, go to the bathroom, and then if he's not done by then I'll go into the room and console him. But yeah, he was yelling that he wanted to watch Bluey. He wanted Bluey, and he was crying, and it got me thinking, maybe TV before bed's not a good idea. Although it is a very cute show, you'd figure that he'd have really pleasant dreams. But so she intercepted him before he went into the room to wake the baby, and she had to drive to Quebec City today. So that this is a very long day for her. And I didn't get there on time. So she ended up hanging out with him at 2:30 in the morning. And the thing with me is that if I'm up, I'm up. I don't go back to bed. I can't fall back asleep unless like maybe at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. But my intention was to wake up at 4:30 to start getting stuff done. I was really excited. I have this full day at home with her on the road. The kids are at daycare. But yeah, so I basically woke up at 2:30 in the morning, couldn't get back to sleep. Then he woke up again, and he's not supposed to come out of his room, but he did. So I walked up the stairs at like 4:30 in the morning when I heard him walk around. I didn't want him to go wake up my girlfriend again, or the baby, so I just sprinted up the stairs, and he just appeared like a ghost. Boom, right in front of me, and we scared each other. And just scaring a 3-year-old in the dark accidentally is and I kind of got upset because I'd been up for already 2 hours. And so I just, what are you doing? Get back in your room. You need to go to sleep. It's dark. What are you doing? And he had books in his hand that he went to get. And he was saying that he was afraid of these books. So I didn't even know what to tell him. And I just kind of guided him back into the room, and we cuddled, and we slept. I tried to fall asleep. I couldn't. I just waited till he fell asleep, which he did eventually at, I think it must have been 5:15 or something in the morning. And by that time I'm like, damn, I was planning on waking up at 4:30 to do stuff, and now I'm here in bed with him trying not to wake him up, hoping, praying that he'll fall back asleep, which he did. Anyways, this is just fairly mundane, usual stuff for parents. You'll recognize this as just a Tuesday, right? Just a Wednesday, just another night. Like, he's a really great sleeper, but he had this one off night. I'm not complaining. It's tough being a kid, man. You're alone in that dark room. You think about it. He's awesome, but he goes to bed and he's alone. He's this 3-year-old kid. I used to say this when he was a 1.5 or 2. As soon as he started sleeping in his own bed, he has a giant queen mattress. He's tiny in that mattress. He has his own room, which is beautiful, but he's still a kid. He's 3 years old in the dark. He has a nightlight, but he's in the dark, you know, and he manages to spend like almost 12 hours in there alone, sleeping or reading books or unaware of where we are in the house. And I find that really admirable and fascinating that a 3-year-old kid can stay 12 hours all alone in a room and be fine. So once in a while, it happens like once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he has a bad dream. He cries. Usually he goes back to sleep. This time he didn't. So what? I'm tired today. There are worse things in the world than being tired. So I woke up, let my girl go back to sleep, took the baby, got the kids ready for daycare, and she was going to, you know, drive them to daycare, which is usually my job. But seeing as she was out on the road, she drove them a little bit later. We had breakfast together. I rushed over to the garden supply shop about 30 minutes away from here, 25 minutes away. I needed some clover because I started in all the endeavors that I want to take on. I decided our grass is clover. We had some landscaping done last summer, towards the end of the summer, and after the spring, once the snow melted, we could see what what stuck. So we have clover grass all over the place that the landscapers had put into the ground, last into the soil. But it's a very rocky soil, so now all the rocks surfaced. So it's very patchy. There are places where the grass is great, but it's all these different patches. So we went and bought some soil and some compost. I don't know, it's a very stinky product. And I mixed them up in the wheelbarrow with a rake and with a shovel. And I'm out there for the first time. I've never done this before, but I'm filling up the patches with the soil, and then I sprinkle seeds, I guess, the clover seeds for them to grow. It takes about 3 weeks. And I did that a week and a half ago. Still had one bag of each left of the soil and the compost and did some more yesterday, but the mosquitoes are out big time. So I'm out there, man, I have to dress up complete, full, long sleeve, long jeans, and it's hot out and big boots. And I put the hat on to prevent the mosquitoes from getting to my face. So I'm all covered up. I have gloves on. And I walked inside after I did the job. I sprinkled some seeds everywhere. I'm getting the clover seeds in, raking it in, making it nice, hoping that this is going to be a successful operation. It probably will be. I water it. I come back inside and I feel my knee is itching. And of course, lo and behold, I have a hole in my jean. I have black jeans with a hole right at the knee from just being on my knees all the time with the kids and playing. And so those suckers came after my knee. They saw an opening, they saw that little hole right there, and the mosquitoes came and had the time of their lives. So I got a mosquito bit knee, man. Um, yeah, so as I was saying, I've been reading tons of books lately. Let's see how we're doing here on. I haven't even looked at X, but are we still on? Is this thing still on? Oh yeah, okay. There's a couple of you there. Yeah, so I've been reading tons of books. I'm trying to read everything. I don't know if this is the best technique. Some people say you should have like you should be reading 2 or 3 books at a time, to be able to go back and forth and I guess refresh or reset every time you switch books. And that's the technique I've been adopting just out of excitement, basically. I just want to read books. I'm watching a PBS documentary about Hemingway at the same time. I read my first Hemingway novel in January. I intend on reading the rest of his works as well. I'm catching up. I was telling my cousin's husband because he's a teacher, history teacher, and he's very well read, and we have a lot of the same references and big discussions about stuff in general. And I keep sending him pictures of like, hey, this is my next read. This is my next read. And he's like, man, you read so much. You read more than you're probably more well read than most of my colleagues. And I told him, no, I'm not. That's the problem is that I didn't read growing up. I read occasionally, but really didn't pay attention when it came to reading. I did not read the classics. So I'm just basically catching up. I'm catching up and I'm reading new books that are coming out or just finished the new Douglas Murray book, which is incredible. Absolutely a must read. And the audiobook is a must as well because his narration skills are just off the charts. Um, but yeah, I've been reading just constantly and I discover new authors and books I want to read. And so I'm on 5 books right now. I'm reading Netanyahu's biography, actually, Bibi, which is a huge brick. I'm reading Bob Dylan. We watched the movie last month. What's it? Is it a complete unknown? A complete unknown. The Bob Dylan Timothy Chalamet, and it was brilliant, brilliant film. I loved that. So I went back and got my old copy of Bob Dylan Chronicles, and I've been giving that a read. And the audiobook is narrated by Sean Penn. So that's been good. Interestingly enough, when you read along, because I do that often, I'll read along with the audiobook, and Sean Penn is doing the narration, and he skips entire paragraphs. I don't know if they told him like maybe it was too long for him to do 7 hours of audiobook. So his contract, I'm wondering what happened there because it's a brilliant book. Dylan is at his best. He writes just phenomenal writing. And it's strange to be something just following along with the audiobook. And then suddenly there's a skip, like, whoa, they just skipped like 6 chapters, not chapters, sorry, 6 paragraphs. I'm like, whoa, where are we at? So I like kind of look around with whatever I'm listening to. You're like, oh, they decided to just skip over all this stuff. So I guess maybe in his contract they were like, the book's 7 hours, 15 minutes. He's like, I'll do 5, which is what ended up happening probably. This is fun. I feel like it's uplifting talk radio. I'm trying not to dive into politics too much, which is very difficult for me, as you know. Um, I just have, I think I'm exhausted. I'm politically exhausted. I'm exhausted of having contrarian views. I'm not trying to have contrarian views. I'm developing my critical thinking. I listen to people I don't agree with. I always try to, I guess, confront my default settings, my default mode, and growing up in the arts and the music industry and showbiz. Uh, More and more, if you get interested um, with certain topics, well, then and you're not just repeating slogans or seeing what people around you are thinking necessarily, or just believing what people are thinking. It's been very, very strange. It's a strange time to be a contrarian, especially living in Quebec. It seems like most of my views, which I again, I'm not trying to be a contrarian. So it's been exhausting, yeah. I lost a handyman. I had a handyman who uh called me up. He was a friend of the family too. He knew my kids, he knew my fiance, he knows my heart. I mean, I this guy showed me how to put in my floors here in the basement. He put on house concerts where I performed at, and he just called me out of the blue. And I'll maybe eventually I'll be comfortable enough to discuss this. I mean, I'll definitely I won't say his name. I wouldn't want to do that to anyone, and I do wish him well. But yeah, he just completely lost it and got really really aggressive and yeah, it's a really interesting story. I don't know. I'll tell it one day, but anyway, I lost my handyman over politics. He knew about certain political leanings, and instead of being curious and going, "Oh, that's really interesting. You're a bright guy. You're not the dumbest guy. You have a podcast. You talk to a lot of interesting people from all around the world, to politicians, to authors, to musicians, to stand-up comedians. Like I do have a very, very professors. I have all kinds of people come on the show." And he just called me not to have a conversation, but to basically scold and to get very, very aggressive and not hear my side of the argument, which I did manage to throw in little nuggets of data to easily dismantle whatever he was saying politically. And he couldn't bring himself to go, "Oh, I didn't see it that way. I didn't understand. Oh, thank you for clarifying why you believe this or this." And I was kind of initially he called me up and he just confronted me and I said, "Really? You want to talk about politics? Like we've known each other for years now. I've never asked about your politics. I'm not interested. I'm interested in you as a human being. I just want to hang out and learn stuff and talk about music." He's a big music fan, and he would come to my shows, come to my album launches, and very supportive, very, very, very supportive of what I do. But then just you know completely lost it on me, and it was very unfortunate. I'm very proud. I kept my calm. I listened to him, and I just tried pushing the topic away. Like, you really want to talk about this? Are you sure you want to talk about this? And he just kept going on. He was very enraged. He said that people like me were violent, and I don't know, something like crazy. Like I don't want to hear your opinion. People who have your opinion I'm like, I think you're living in the upside down. It sounds to me like you're very aggressive right now and respectfully not interested in hearing other people's opinions or understanding why people think certain ways. That's the way that I function in the world. If there's a strong opinion out there and it's not my opinion, I will go listen to the smartest people defend that opinion because I want to learn, I want to understand. And then I can agree or disagree or half agree. Anyway, it was very frustrating. I felt very shook that someone who knew my heart, knew my family, knew my children, knew my music, knew my art, knew that I was a very nuanced person who has people from different walks of life on the show. Very, very diversified show, podcast, would have this hard line decision to make a call, confront, not listen, hang up the phone in the end. I stayed calm the whole time. I was like, if you want to have this talk, maybe we can wait till you cool down. And I love discussing this stuff if it comes from a place of, if you're in good faith. So, anyways, I was fucked up, messed up. But I don't even know how I got on that topic. But I did want to talk about this book that I discovered Steve Rinella. I don't know if you know Steve Rinella, but it's funny because there's a book a few years ago that I wanted to buy, which I didn't, and I will, called American Buffalo. And it's on my list. But then I came across this book, Having Young Children. And I don't have the sleeve because I throw them out. Do you do this? I have books. All my books we decided because we have a beautiful bookshelf here and one in the back there. And I just think it looks more elegant, I guess, instead of having the actual sleeves that they add on top of the hard, especially the hard covers. Um, so yeah, I take them off. And but this book is called Outdoor Kids in an Inside World by Stephen Ranilla. So he's a hunter, he's a meat eater. He has a Netflix series I found out called, I think it's called Meat Eater. They're like 9 seasons, and very very famous dude. He's often on Rogan and on with Ryan Holiday. I'm watching his interview with Ryan Holiday right now. And this book, yeah, just all about raising kids and raising them outdoors, taking them fishing, hunting, mushroom hunting, picking, playing with bugs, lifting rocks up, seeing the worms go out, and just getting down and dirty with nature, just understanding nature and that, yeah, away from screens. And which, funny enough, that handyman I was talking to you about earlier, when he called me up before he got into the nitty gritty and the dirty topic of politics, was saying, "Oh," I was like, "Hey, how you doing, man?" And he's like, "Nah, not too good. This my he's a grandpa and he has a 3-year-old, and was saying, he this 3-year-old throws fits when I take the iPad away from him." And my immediate thought, having read Jonathan Haidt and not having any screens here for my children to play with, was like, what's a 3-year-old doing with an iPad? Just that was a red flag immediately. But who am I to? I don't want to tell people how to parent. Although I'm telling you how to parent, don't give iPads to your 3-year-old or a smartphone. That's completely absurd. But yeah, so it was. Anyway, so I'm reading this book right now, which is fabulous. I'm almost done, and it makes me. I was saying how much I wanted to write, I want to read, I want to garden, I want to cook, I want to do so many things. I have a script I'm writing right now for a book. I want to do stand up. I want to do so much stuff, and yeah. So this book made me want. I was watching this Hemingway documentary. I had another tab open looking at fishing gear, and I want to get into fishing. There's a lake here. Why shouldn't I be fishing? I need to learn to fish. I've never been on a fishing trip. I don't know how to fish to save my life, but I'm going to buy the gear, I think, this summer. Um, and then I can teach my sons how to fish. I just bought a bike too. I haven't owned a bicycle in 15 years. I was living in town. We have those Bixies, which are basically community bikes. You buy a pass, you have access to it, and you can roam around town on Bixies. And I decided to. I live in the country now. I want to get in shape, and there are definitely hikes you can do. But there's so many mosquitoes, as I mentioned earlier. I figured there's some good trails. I know there's some good trails up here where I can go biking, which I will do. So now I have a nice Cannondale gravel bike. Wow, I don't have it yet. They're going to receive it, I think, today or tomorrow, and then we'll have it set up. And I can't wait to get into gravel biking. Get back into it, man. Gonna drop the kiddos at daycare and then go for a little treks in the morning breeze, the morning sunshine. Can't wait. Really, really excited. So yeah, been reading those books. What else have I been reading? Um, just tons. I have more on my list. I want to get into Cormac McCarthy as well, which I remember for the past few years, I see the cover of The Road. It, there's something about that book cover, which is really simple. It's black, says The Road on it. Cormac McCarthy. He wrote No Country for Old Men. Um, yeah, I want to read that book. I want to read more Hemingway. I want to read all the classics. I remember Lex Friedman a few years ago put out a list of like I think it was 50 or the 100 novels that he wanted to read in the upcoming year, and he published the list. I should find that. Like George Orwell was in there and a bunch of other, it was a lot of classics, a lot of stuff that he figured basic literature that one should read. This is fun, man. I can go on for a long time. That being said, I haven't eaten lunch yet. I've been up since 2:30 in the morning. We're approaching 1:15. Anything else I wanted to talk about? Lost my handyman. Got some mosquito bites on my knee. 2:30 a.m. wake up. Last thing I will say, other than buy Bitcoin, is I've discovered another pleasure. If you're in no hurry and you want to test your capacity to not give a fuck about what people are thinking about you, if you want to challenge that, a lot of people, I guess, we like that other people like us, and we're trying to get people to like us. And I think as I get older, I give less and less fucks about if people like what I do or don't like. But there's one thing that I've really been enjoying, is driving cruise control in country roads. So I have to, just to get out of our uh, municipality, basically takes 20 minutes. It's a 20-minute drive to get to civilization where I live. So there's a lot of winding roads and lakes. And I talked about this in my last podcast episode, but it was in French, so I can do the English version. It's really cool. Maybe not for the people behind me, but test this out. I'm listening to audiobooks in the car or podcasts, and I'm in no hurry to get home or to go where I go. I always leave early to make sure I'm not in a hurry. And I put the cruise control at the speed limit in the country roads, which is usually 30 kilometers an hour. That's like, what, 20 miles an hour or something? Which is fairly slow, but it is the limit. It technically, if you go 35 kilometers an hour, you are going faster than the speed limit, which is technically illegal, but everybody does it, right? So I'm driving 30, click, cruise control, no rush, listening to my audiobook, getting more reading done. And it's these, I'm like, I've never driven the speed limit in these roads. I've never gone 30 kilometers an hour in these roads. I usually drive 40 or 50, and it's fine, right? Especially downhill. But when you hit the cruise control, you realize that one, your car isn't going to be in better shape and last longer because there's so many potholes and the roads are terrible. These are the worst roads you can imagine where I live. So if you're going above the speed limit, you're causing severe abuse to your automobile. So I'm just driving 30, chilling, listening to my audiobook. And then obviously there's more and more people behind me. And they must be saying, this fucking Sunday driver, man. Which I do on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. I do weekdays as well, but I'm officially a Sunday driver. I apologize to the people behind me. That being said, I don't really apologize because I'm driving the speed limit. I'm actually obeying the law. And you just needed to get up early or not be in such a rush and try to better time manage, which is my forte. I'm an excellent time manager. I do have a lot of flaws, but I am good at time management. I am good at uh, looking up on Waze how many minutes or hours it's going to take me to be somewhere. I make sure that I'm there half an hour in advance, so I'm in no rush whatsoever. I'm very, very good at that is my skill in this household. My fiance is not as good in with time management. She's very good at other stuff, which I'm terrible at. But that's my thing. If we need to be somewhere at 2 o'clock, I make sure everyone is ready to go, and that we're going to be arriving at that destination at 1:30 maximum. So we have a half hour buffer, right? If not an hour buffer. So it's a little, sometimes it's a bit annoying, but for the most part, it's our key to success and successful time management and being places on time, which we always are because of that skill set. Anyway, all that to say, I'm going to go pick up my kids at daycare later on. I need to be there at a certain time. I'm going to make sure that I can drive 30 kilometers an hour in these country roads, listening to my audiobooks or podcasts or music or whatever I want to be listening to. And hey, suck it for the people in the back. I don't know what to say, man. Get up early, try to plan better. But it's a delight, and it's a real test to just not giving an F about what's going on. There's people behind you. That's it. I'm driving the speed limit. I'm doing it, man. I'm being safe. I'm being kind to my vehicle. I am filling my brain and my soul with beautiful writings and readings. And life is good, man. Life is beautiful if you want it. And on that note, I'm starving. I'm tired. I've been up since 2:30 in the morning. It is time for me to log off, and we will do this again very, very soon. If you can, please subscribe to the Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/ Bajada Dialogues, Bajada Dialogues, patreon.com/ Bajada Dialogues. Please sign up, become a member, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Have a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Adios.